CD by
Saw it. I saw that.
Ready?
That's not.
Ready?
All right.
There she is.
Oh, there she comes.
We're waiting.
There's snow in here.
We're holding for you. We thought you rode your bike in. No, looks like you sledded in.
Yeah, it's basically, that's why I'm here so tardily.
Mr. Chairman,
Larry
can
Fleet's
I pass a
present
resolution
today.
this morning stating that, to the city, that we'd like to see the train down on the beach?
In the middle of the winter. Okay.
I'm still trying to
Probably wouldn't get the
shovel.
argument if you wanted to move it to the Civic Center, Larry.
Yeah, we are.
Get Commissioner Max
That's
Bauer
not a
all
bad
settled
idea.
up here.
It's Rotary Day.
Thank you.
All right.
Linda?
I drew the short straw.
No, that's
I understand that.
I
It's
think-
a joke.
that's
I faxed you
Ross's
this. I don't know
companion
if
for
you
his
got it.
inauguration.
I faxed you that, but I don't know if you got it.
Isn't that hilarious?
Could you move it over right behind him?
I didn't put it where it is now, and I'm not going to touch it.
I'm going to sit over by you.
It is
Good morning.
what it is.
Good morning, public. Good morning, Board of Commissioners. This is the organizational meeting. Today is January 3rd, 2012. It is 8:05 a.m. We are at the Governmental Center in the Commission Chambers. And we will begin, we will open up the meeting. If you have a cell phone, if you can put it on vibrate or silent, that would be helpful. And I do not know where mine is at the moment.
Everybody reaches.
I don't know where mine is.
It is on silent. And we will start with the opening ceremonies, and Commissioner Henschel has volunteered to do the invocation this morning, so we'll stand and he will follow with the Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Henschel.
Shall we pray? Our Father in heaven, we thank you for this new year, and we thank you for another year to spend in your glorious creation. We ask for safety for our citizens and wisdom for our leaders. We ask that you will give each of us commissioners special insight into the matters we deliberate, discuss, and make decisions on. Just pray for your special aid as we face the special challenges of this new year. In thy name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Henschel. We will now have the clerk do the roll call attendance, please.
Commissioner Wheelock?
Yes, ma'am.
Thomas?
Yep.
Richardson?
Here.
Maxbauer?
Here.
Lemkool?
Here.
Henschel?
Yes.
Gilman?
Yes.
Fleece?
Present.
Chairman Inman?
Here. We have all present. Next item is public comment. Does any member of the public wish to speak at this time? Hearing none, we will close public comment. On the approval of the agenda, the chairman has two additional items. Given that the county administrator has sent out a notice, his 45-day notice, to us on Sunday. I don't know if everyone got one or not, but I would like to add that as the official notification under New Business A, and also under B, under New Business, the recommendation of the chairman to hold a special meeting for tomorrow night, January 4th at 7 p.m. to discuss the county administrator's notice, the interim management recommendation, and the recruitment process recommendation that the chairman and the vice chairman will be meeting on today and distributing to all Board of Commissioners and to the public early this morning, hopefully. So I'd like to add those two, and with that, if I could get a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the amended agenda.
Second.
And moved by Commissioner Wheelock, seconded by Commissioner Henschel, to approve the agenda as presented with the addition of the notice of the county administrator and the notice of the special meeting for tomorrow, January 4th at 7 p.m. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes. Okay, we now move on to the election of the vice chairman, and I'll call on Commissioner Thomas for that.
I'd move that we nominate Mr. Fleece as vice chairman.
Support.
Okay. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Congratulations,
Thank
Vice
you.
Chairman Fleece.
Thank you, fellow commissioners. I appreciate
You
the
can take,
support.
you can take those road signs down now.
All those yard signs. Okay, next is item number 6, the adoption of the standing rules. And as you know, the Board of Commissioners had a ad hoc committee that met in 2011 and reviewed our standing rules for the Board of Commissioners and have made certain adjustments. Those adjustments are in your packet. So in your packet you have the actual full print of the the recommended organizational rules of the Board of Commissioners, and attached to that are the clerical notes indicating the changes that the committee had made. So what we would need to do is, unless there's objection, to make a motion to approve the standing rules as recommended in the packet. Commissioner Lemko.
Motion to approve and adopt the standing rules.
Support.
Moved by Commissioner Lemko, and it was seconded by Commissioner Richardson to approve the adoption of the standing rules.
This is the marked up copy, correct?
Yes, there's a markup copy, and then it's just blended in one copy. Any other questions? Since it is the standing rules of the boards, I would ask for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Richardson?
Yes.
Maxbauer?
Yes.
Lemko?
Yes.
Henschel?
Yes.
Gilman?
Yes.
Fleece?
Yes.
Wheelock?
Yes, ma'am.
Chairman Inman?
Yes. Okay, those rules stand. And I would like to thank the committee that really worked pretty hard on this and made some great suggestions, and thank Bob Cooney for assisting us in that process and having it ready for today's meeting. We now want to move on to item number 7, which is the annual resolution, which we normally have in our packet at our annual meeting, and that is under page 41. And if I could have Dennis briefly, if he can, make any remarks on the annual resolution.
This is the resolution that the county board considers annually under Act 166 of PA, Public Acts of 1977. It allows for people who meet certain criteria, senior citizens, eligible widows, totally and permanently disabled or blind, to have their administrative fee of 4% and their interest charges of 1% per month waived between the March 1st and April 30th dates on taxes in their first year of delinquency. The county board, this has been recommended by the treasurer for many years, and as a routine matter, the county board has been approving this to waive those fees.
Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I would move to exempt the above-mentioned people from paying the administrative fees and the interest charges for late payments on property taxes.
So your resolution is to approve Resolution 1, 2012.
1-2020-2012.
Okay, and it was seconded by Commissioner Henschel. All right. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, passes. We move on to item number 8, which is the monthly meeting dates and times for the Board of Commissioners. Any questions on any of those dates? Usually it gets into November and December because of Thanksgiving and Christmas, but does anybody have any suggested changes, or do you want to leave those the same? Commissioner Maxbauer.
Mr. Chairman, I do overall favor evening meetings, but not everyone works during the day and can attend our meetings in the evening. I would like to see us have one meeting a month in the afternoon, in the morning, whatever the board would determine would be a good time, other than the evening, simply to accommodate individuals who don't work during the day. And last year at this time, I was in Munson and saw a lot of people who did not work during the day. They worked at night or in the afternoons and evenings. And I would like to see us have one meeting to accommodate those people.
Okay. I would just like to make a remark. Back when I first got on the county board, we did two different things. One is we went out to the town. We picked, I think, 3 townships or 4 townships through the year to have our meetings, and as an outreach, and then have the townships make a report to us as to what's going on. And it also gave us the ability to meet some of the elected officials in those areas. And that was back when we were, I guess, kind of holding a camera, and the video and the sound portion of the meeting just wasn't there. Then the board eventually decided to have their meetings here in this location here because of the technology available to us in this room. And I guess some say the inconvenience of traveling to other areas within the county. The second thing I'd like to bring up is that when I first got on the board, we mixed the meeting schedules up. We had some board meetings at 7:30 in the morning. Of course, that usually was our committees, and we had our actual board meetings either at noon or at 7 p.m. at night. I think we had a couple of them at noon and 3 or 4 of them in the evening at 7 p.m. So in the history of the Board of Commissioners, there has been a mix in locations and times. And we have had the 7 p.m. Location here. I don't personally think it's acquired more public to attend our meetings, but certainly it does to give them an opportunity to view us on camera and know that we would be on Channel 99 on the last Wednesday of the month at 7 p.m. So there's the benefit there as well. So I just bring that up as just general comment. So anyone else have any remarks? Commissioner, I'll go with Commissioner Fleece, Richardson, and then Thomas.
Another reason we went to the 7 p.m., which I feel was probably the most important one, was it allows any person of any age that's employed to apply for the position of commissioner and be able to partake in our meetings. 7 p.m., most people work during the day. There's some, of course, that work second and third shift. But this by far allows the average working person to run for county commissioner. When we had our meetings at 7:30 in the morning and the one at 7 p.m., unless you had a very gracious boss, and you look at the commissioners and their employ when that was going on, they were either self-employed or retired. That was the only ones that could be on the county commission, and I think that's wrong. As a result, I think of maybe changing these hours. We have Commissioner Gilman, who's a young person. He's self-employed, but he's on the board now. We have Rob Henschel, same way, and you didn't see that before. So I think it's important we retain the 7 p.m.
Okay. Commissioner Richardson.
I just make a motion that we adopt the meeting times as presented.
All right.
Support.
All right. Moved by Commissioner Richardson, seconded by Commissioner Fleece, to approve the meeting schedule for 2012 for the Board of Commissioners as presented in the packet. Is there discussion? We did have another hand up. That was your opinion as well?
Well, yeah, but I was also going to say that when we used to meet in our morning meetings, the meetings we held here, the monthly meetings were at noon. The ones that we held in the townships were at night.
Right.
And generally back then, that was before TV, but generally, particularly Fife Lake, Long Lake, usually Blair and Peninsula, those people, we got a lot better turnout for those evening township meetings than we ever did in here. So
Okay.
we used to get quite a few people at some of those meetings.
All right, Commissioner Gilman.
I would still support the, I mean, this is, I think we could change this if we need to change it at some point. I don't think even arguing it right now is really that important, but I would still support going back to morning meetings for the end of the month. The reason being, we have our, or at least for the committee meetings again, and then have the evening meeting for the end of the month meeting, because that does break it up, and it gives the people who do work in the evening an opportunity to at least go to the committee meetings, get their voices heard, and then at the end of the month, those, you know, the people who work during the day, if they, you know, if they feel they have to participate, that's fine. But here's the other part of it. During the committee meetings, we fill up these seats at 7 o'clock with a whole bunch of county employees who have to shift their schedules and move out of their normal times working slots to make that particular time. And as far as Commissioner Fleece's, it's a good argument. I mean, other opportunities for people to be commissioners. Well, I think you have to make a special dispensation in your life to become an elected official anyway. You certainly give up some things, and a scheduling conflict that you might have with your normal life, I think, is an appropriate sacrifice.
I have just a quick question, and then we'll go to Commissioner Henschel from, I guess, Dennis or Bob. The requirement on the equalization meeting for April 10th, and then we have a separate board meeting for April 25th. Is there any leeway to combine the equalization meeting with Board of Commissioners meeting?
You'd need to move the
Or those
regular
separate?
board meeting or a committee meeting to that date.
I would say, oh, okay, I see what you're
The
saying.
equalization meeting is,
Has to
for
be-
some reason, it's a quirky statute, but it
Okay,
requires
all right.
it to be done on a
So
certain
we'll leave that
date.
on that. Leave that as is. Okay. Any other discussion? Commissioner Henschel.
I just wanted to comment, I do support morning meetings because in my mind, having every meeting on a Wednesday evening prevents commissioners, prevents staff, public if they wish to attend from taking part in a lot of things in our community that happen Wednesday evenings regularly, and a lot of Boy Scout troops and other civic groups, and especially a lot of faith communities. Wednesday is a regular evening for church services, Awana programs and such. And so by having every meeting on a Wednesday evening, it prevents commissioners and staff from having any part in those at all. So I support morning meetings.
Okay. So we have a motion on the floor to approve the Board of Commissioners' formal end-of-the-month meeting schedule as presented in your packet. For any further discussion? Hearing none, let's have a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Richardson?
Yes.
Max Bauer?
No.
Lemkool?
No.
Henschel?
No.
Gilman?
No.
Fleece?
Yes.
Wheelock?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yep.
Chairman Inman.
Yes. Motion passes with 4 nays. All right. We now move on to claims and accounts meeting schedule and dates. And what we normally do is identify the dates that, for payroll purposes, that we schedule those claims twice a month. And what we'll do is, if we maintain the same membership on the Claims and Accounts Finance Committee, Chris will send out a notice to those 3 members. That would be me. Well, actually, the chairman of the committee is Commissioner Henschel as of this point, and then Vice Chairman Gilman, and I am a member at large. And then we will try to do the best to balance out our schedule with that claims and accounts schedule as a secondary item, but we just need to approve those dates. So if we can get a motion on the floor to approve the dates and times, and we will come back to you with how we balance it out in terms of who's going to serve on that particular time and date. Commissioner Gilman.
I'd move that we approve the claims and account schedule for 2012.
Okay.
Support.
All right, moved by Commissioner Gilman, seconded by Commissioner Lemkool to approve the claims and accounts meeting dates and times for 2012. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Okay, and just briefly, it has been the, I guess, if you want to term protocol or history, since I've been on the board, this is my 20th year, that the commissioners that have served on the first term of their commission cycle be also recommended for a second year on the second year of their election cycle. Part of it is, I believe, allows for some stability for assignments and for the person serving on the committee. The first year is a learning experience. The second year is a more active taking role part for most commissioners. And looking at commission assignments every 2 years does give commissioners opportunities to look at areas, different areas of county government if they continue to want to serve the public and run for re-election. So it has been the protocol for and the practice for the chairman to, again, extend that courtesy to not only the chairmen but the vice chairmen of standing committees, but also the other committees that the commissioners currently are assigned to. And just as a note, if any commissioner wishes to, at any time at this meeting or at any time in the future, in 2012, which wishes to change any of the assignments for personal reasons or scheduling reasons or whatever, that you would contact me, and then we would bring it to the RMA committee for ratification and adoption of those changes. So I present to you the memo, January 3rd, 2012, organizational meeting, commissioner appointments and assignments for 2012, and I ask for your approval, and I will call on Commissioner Fleece as vice chairman to address this. Whether to make a motion or do something.
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion that we approve the appointments of the board last year, 2011, be the same as 2012, unless there's personal request by specific persons on the committees.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Fleece, seconded by Commissioner Wheelock, correct? To approve the commissioner appointments and assignments for 2012 that are the same as the commissioner assignments for 2011. Discussion. Commissioner Max Bauer.
Well, as you all know, you received a letter from me. Actually, it was a one-sentence letter asking that I be considered for chair of RMNA. And I want to tell you how this all came about. I was reviewing our board rules, and I really felt that I could provide more leadership than Commissioner Richardson has provided in the last year. So I called Commissioner Fleece, and it's the only phone call I made. And I said, what do you think about me asking to be RMNA chair? And he said, I'll tell you what to do. You put a one-sentence letter to the county board and ask them if you can be chair of RMNA. So that's what I did. And quite honestly, you would have thought I shot someone. The chairman, who I spoke with on Friday, I refreshed his memory about our conversations about this a year ago. When he called me initially, he asked me if I was interested in serving as a committee chair. And at the time, I had expressed interest in being vice chair. So for the other committees, I said no. I subsequently learned that Commissioner Fleece was interested in being vice chair, and so I went, that works for me. And I called now Chairman Inman back, and I said I would like to be chair of RMNA. And he said, I've already offered it to Commissioner Richardson. And I said, fine. I read our board rules. It's for 1 year. And I don't believe Commissioner Fleece, if he thought it was 2 years, would have said, go ahead and put your name out there. So I couldn't have been alone in my thinking in that. Also on our Friday conversation, Chairman Inman asked me, what do you think about challenging an incumbent? And I said, I see absolutely nothing wrong with it. You know, what's the downside here? You give people a choice. Yet, Commissioner Richardson posted on his Facebook page, well, and I'm going to address this because it's public. Otherwise, I would not. Well, the gloves are off. Chris Maxbauer is determined to replace me as chairman of the Resource Management and Administration Committee of the County Commission. She is evidently mad I didn't support one of the 2 people she wanted for the County Parks and Rec Commission. I would state at this time that Commissioner Henschel and I are going to be changing places. I'm not going to be on the County Parks and Rec Commission. This is absolutely ludicrous. What's really interesting, the justification she is using is that I don't deserve to be chair because I'm a Democrat. Those words have never left my mouth. I did go in front of the Garfield Town Board and I asked for their support, as any one of you who is running for office asks for support. Commissioner Richardson could have done the same thing if he ever attended the Garfield Township Board meeting. He chooses not to attend those. I also went in front of the Republican Executive Committee and asked for their support. Call me silly, I just don't think I would have gotten much standing in front of the Democratic Executive Committee asking for support. So where do you go for support? And then he says, I was not aware before that Maxbauer considered herself such a strong partisan. I am a Republican, folks. So that's, you know, you ask for support from Republicans. But since her 2 strongest supporters are Tea Party adherents, Jason Gilman and Rob Henschel, I guess she'll say whatever she has to keep them happy. I have to tell you, this is right up there with his posting on the county board backed away from removing the parking meters tonight, but demanded that the city put 30-minute free buttons on all 24 of them, a reasonable compromise, but no apology for acting like a flock of clowns. Thomas couldn't bring himself to vote for the compromise. I mean, there are pages of this. Now, setting all that aside, let me tell you what I would like to do if I am selected as chair of RMNA over the next year. We absolutely need to reassess our boards and committees. We need to know why we have boards. We need to know why we sit on them. We need to assess exactly what their role is. I am committed, if I'm selected as chair of that committee, I am committed to address that and bring to this board history and options for this board to consider. Next year, there are only going to be 7 of us, and I think that time is now to address this. The other issue that I am committed to addressing is the county administrator's appraisal. You all remember last month that there were only 8 commissioners that participated in the performance appraisal. I was the one who did not. And I did not because, quite honestly, I think our appraisal system stinks. How can an administrator, Dennis or anyone else, take a look at 9 different views and figure out what direction he or she needs to go? You can't. And I am also committed to giving the board options for that. So for that reason, I would ask for your support for the chairman. I do have seniority. I'm the only female on the board, and I'm committed to working. Thank you.
Okay, the chair would like to read the response that I gave Commissioner Maxbauer upon her letter requesting a change to be the chair of the RMA committee for the public record. Dear Commissioner Maxbauer, I received your letter on December 7th, 2011 regarding your wish to be appointed to the 2012 chairman of the Resource Management Administration Committee of the Whole, RMA, as well as your request by phone. As I indicated to you in our telephone conversation, the longstanding protocol and practice of the County Commission is to have the chairman of the board extend the same commissioner assignments for the second year of the election cycle unless a commissioner asks for a reassignment. It is my belief that maintaining the same assignments during the 2-year election cycle provides stability for commissioners and the committee system as well as staff that we work with. As I promised you, I did have a telephone conversation with Commissioner Ross Richardson, and he expressed to me his desire to continue to be chairman of the RMA committee for 2012. Given Commissioner Richardson's willingness to serve again as the 2012 chairman of the RMA committee, I will agree to recommend to the Board of Commissioners at the 2012 organizational meeting his reappointment as chairman of this committee. I will also, excuse me, I will also be recommending the same commissioners serve as chairman of the committees and commissioner assignments, with the exception of Commissioner Jason Gilman to be the county commissioner representative to the Traverse City Area District Library, in keeping with the county board's agreement to create this representation on the title board. As you recall, prior to the election cycle of 2011-2012, you were the first commissioner I contacted assuming I was to be elected chairman of the commission and asked if you would like to be considered for a committee chairmanship. You indicated to me that you had no interest in serving as a chairman of the committee of the whole. You also stated this would give you more of an opportunity to engage in discussion rather than managing the meetings. However, based on your seniority on the board, I recommended that you be vice chairman of the RMA committee. During the previous election cycle, Commissioner Richardson, Commissioner Richard Thomas and Chairman Richard Thomas and I discussed the leadership recommendations, and we agreed to offer the chairman of Human Services Committee, which we were pleased that Commissioner Maxbauer accepted, and you completed your 2-year chairmanship. There was no argument regarding the 1 or 2 year issue. Both Chairman Thomas and I felt you filled this role professionally and productively. I am pleased that you are now thinking about being a committee of the whole chairman, and should any chairman of the committee of the whole decide to change assignments, I would be happy to consider your request during 2012. In the event we both have an opportunity to serve during the next election cycle, and you still have an interest in serving as chairman of the committee of the whole, I certainly would encourage the next chairman in 2013 to consider your appointment as a chairman of the committee of the whole. I will be preparing the 2012 organizational meeting with the same assignments as stated above, and hope you will continue to be vice chairman of the RMA committee. Thank you for contacting me regarding your interest, and I hope you and your family have a wonderful holiday season. Signed, Larry Seaman, chairman of the board. With regard to your presentation to Garfield Township Board, I was contacted regarding your remarks and sent an explanation to their board chairman and received one response back from a trustee indicating, thank you for completing my understanding of your process. You are doing a good job. I believe you are making the correct recommendation. In terms of your presentation to the Grand Traverse County Republican Executive Committee, which I find fairly offensive, and especially in my absence, I did receive mention from the chairman of the Republican Committee, the remarks that were made by you to have the Republican Executive Committee call me or take action to change those committee assignments. I prepared a short memo to the chairman and attached this memo to my explanation of how the assignments are made and why I am making the same assignments for 2012. I have not received one response from the Republican Executive Committee. So it's with that I concur with the motion on the floor. And does any other commissioners have remarks? Commissioner Gilman.
I think we're missing an opportunity here. Grand Traverse County is more than half female. Each of these committee chairs are males. We have the board chair, who is a male. We have the board vice chair, who is a male. And, you know, I mean, I'm hardly the one that people would expect to start talking about diversity. But the fact of the matter is that the census actually suggests that we're going to be even more female as time goes on. Not only that, I do have some disagreements in the operation of that particular position that have happened over the last year, my inaugural year, I guess, in the commission. And even I, as a novice commissioner, or novice, recognize there are things that a committee chair does not do. You don't attempt to try to enforce your vote by veto of a motion. Okay, I think in one instance it was the gracious act of a competitor, Commissioner Fleece, making a motion to accept a bid for Commissioner Henschel's business, which was immediately ruled as a conflict of interest when in fact it was not for him to do so. But we backed off, we went that route, and Commissioner Richardson voted no on the motion in the end, showing what he was trying to do anyway. And then there was another time where Commissioner Henschel made a motion, and it was legitimate as any motion that's been made on this board. And because Commissioner Richardson, as chair, did not like it, he ruled it out of order, or attempted to rule it out of order. It was challenged, and quite rightly, Chairman, you ruled appropriately, striking down that particular ruling. I think I think we're missing an opportunity. I don't think it's unreasonable for Commissioner Maxbauer to make the request and to seek this position, which has not a 2-year term, but has a 1-year term for a reason. You know, we make the chair for 2 years, or the chairman of the board, but these committee chairs, they're for 1 year, and they're for good reason, and we have an opportunity. And I would encourage the other commissioners to join me in my motion to amend this motion to reverse those particular positions, making Christine Maxbauer the chair and Ross Richardson the vice chair. That was a motion, by the way.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to approve the 2012 organizational chart. We have a motion to amend that motion to have Commissioner Maxbauer serve as the RMA chair. Is there support for that motion?
Point of order. Is that an appropriate motion? Because our job as a board is simply to approve the appointments of the chair.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. That is it. You know, I'm glad you brought that up. Is according to the board rules, Bob, I just want to make sure that I thank Commissioner Henschel for that question, which will lead me to my next little comment. the board rules say that the chairman makes the appointments, and it also says that the board must ratify those appointments. It doesn't say that they make motions to change or anything. They either ratify or they don't ratify it. And then the chairman has to make another recommendation.
I think the most appropriate thing is there's a motion on the floor to approve as recommended by the chair. And I'm not sure if Commissioner Maxbauer moved to amend that.
I did not.
Okay, I think that's the appropriate motion if someone wants to
I moved to
change
amend it,
one of
though.
the
That was my
recommendations.
So the question of ratification, you believe, Commissioner, we don't have to take the vote on the ratification first, and then the chairman has to make, if it fails, then the chairman has to make another recommendation. That would be my viewpoint with Robert, of what we have in our board rules.
I believe a motion to amend would be in order, and that
Okay.
motion should be voted on first.
All right, okay. So we have a motion on the floor to approve the 2012 assignments recommended by the chairman. It's been seconded. We have a second motion we have an amended motion by Commissioner Gilman. And is that motion seconded?
Yeah.
By,
Christine said it, but I'll second it.
all right, by Commissioner Henschel.
Either
All
way.
right. Discussion. I will just make some brief remarks. One is that part of my, I guess, belief and legacy as being chairman of this commission is that I do not want to separate us between being Republicans and Democrats and men and women, blacks and whites, whatever other diversity you might want to stick out as a reason to make change. Excuse me, I have discussion going on, Commissioner Max Bauer. And that I have no intent as chairman to create an atmosphere that is conducted by other public bodies such as Congress and the state legislature, where they actually divide themselves between party affiliations. One sits on the other side of the room, the other one sits on the other. They ignore each other, they don't talk to each other, and they don't work for the common good, for the common public. My chairmanship is going to be based on fairness, respect, and that each commissioner be treated equally as they walk through that door without looking at party affiliation, and give that person respect from the residents that elected them to this office to represent them for this district. So I will not be making my decision on committee assignments based on Republican versus a Democratic affiliation. Also, I will also remind my fellow commissioners that throughout the year, myself and other committee chairmen have made what I would say procedural errors and mistakes, and have forgotten certain items on agendas, and they have been reminded by their fellow commissioners as a whole that they have made that error and have gone back and conducted the business of the public in a professional way, and we have gotten the business of the public completed and done. So with that, I have recommended to County Administrator Dennis Aloya and to our attorney Bob Cooney that including in our annual training, not only to the County Board of Commissioners, but to staff and the people that we serve on committees, not only do they receive the Open Meetings Act, the FOIA information, and the ethics of holding an office, but Robert's Rules of Order training be placed as an annual basis. And I do recognize that most of us can be refreshed and further trained in Robert's Rules of Order. So we all equally share, as chair of committees, making minor errors during public meetings on procedural issues when we were conducting the meetings for the public. But those errors have been minor in nature. They've been corrected, and the public's business has been completed in an orderly fashion. So therefore, I will not be voting on the amended motion. Is there any further comment? Commissioner Fleece.
You know, it really saddens me to see the discord we have here this morning. And Commissioner Max Bauer, it's my firm belief that as vice chair of RMNA, along with Chairman Richardson, if you want to see the changes occur that you spoke of, there's no reason why you, as vice chair, working with the chairman, couldn't accomplish those goals. Chairman Inman and myself consult back and forth all the time. And as a vice chair, I think you have a certain obligation to support the chair of any committee or board you're on within reason. You obviously are entitled to your own opinions. But I think with the long-standing practice we've had in Grand Traverse County, it's worked really well. If Ross said, well, you know, I wouldn't mind a swap, then I could see that. But I don't see the argument that we have going on here this morning, the disagreement, and pitting one against the other. All of this time, in my opinion, that we've spent on this morning doesn't accomplish anything. It's a personal thing, in my opinion, which I think belongs outside the door as you walk through here to do, as Chairman Inman says, the public's interest and business. And that's truly what, in my lowly opinion, what we're here for. And I wish you would reconsider your thoughts on that and actively get with Chairman Richardson and see what you two could work out, because the old saying, two heads are better than one.
Okay, Commissioner Wheelock, and then...
Well, I've been here a long
Then we'll go
time,
from
and I'm sure I've made as many procedural errors as anybody in this room, probably more, who knows. But the fact is, I believe Ross has done a good job with leadership for this committee. I said, I don't see where there's been an issue. Now that we have committees of the whole, each and every one of us are in a position every week to make a difference in how the committees are done. You know, when it was only 4 of us on a committee, it wasn't the case. But the fact is now, every one of us is at every meeting. You know, we take comments from commissioners on every issue. There's no reason that whether you have a little label in front of your desk that says you're the chairman or you're the vice chairman, or you don't have a label that says any, you can make a significant difference on the decisions before every one of these standing committees. Because we are committees of the whole, all 9 of us participate in every discussion we have.
Okay, we have Commissioner Max Bauer and Commissioner Gilman.
Well, I would like to dispel that there's any discord. At least from my point of view, there isn't any. This, to me, is a question of leadership. And, Mr. Chairman, when I went in front of the Republican Executive Committee, I mean, I went in front of, once you told me that Commissioner Richardson wanted this particular chairmanship, I went in front of a number of boards and committees and said, you know, I would appreciate hearing your support. I don't see anything wrong with that. It's a question to me of leadership, and I think I would provide better leadership. Clearly, Commissioner Fleece, you don't, and I certainly respect that, and that's fine. It really is, it's fine. But that's, you know, I've set out what I would accomplish in the next year, and if you feel Commissioner Richardson, as head of RMNA, chairman, would accomplish more, then you will vote for him. And that's all. as far as I'm concerned, there is no discord. And I will be the first to congratulate him if he wins.
Commissioner Gilman, and then I have a remark.
A couple of things. Stand for something. I mean, you know, Commissioner Maxbauer brought it before the Republican board simply because she wanted support, because she felt that she was in the position to offer the leadership necessary. Now, you can say, well, you know, we're not Democrats, we're not Republicans. Why bother? Why bother having a label? Why bother running for a primary in the congressional election? Stand for something. Be something. Take a side. You know, if you think that Ross Richardson is the best leader for that particular committee, then you say, okay, I think that's the case, and perhaps you've already made that statement. Then you've told us where you stand. And I think it's really important. And frankly, I don't see leadership from that position. That's my problem. Okay? I don't see it. And I don't see a leader going against the other committee. Now, it's one thing. We're in the board, and we're going to deliberate, and we're going to argue. And when we walk away from here, we're going to shake hands, and that's the way that goes. But outside of here, I've been personally attacked by this leader who has an obvious agenda and is taking it out on me, not only in this particular, out in the public, through a newspaper article, or through editorial writing of him and his wife back to back against me, trying to get me to resign, but then comes in here and actually tries to ignore me as much as possible during these meetings. You can't have that as a chairman. You can't have that as a chair of a committee. I don't believe he's the leader to have in that particular committee, and that's where I come from. And now, as far as leadership goes, I will say this. Her suggestions are straight up right. And this is just plain good sense. She has things that she wants to approach, okay? Getting off the emotional thing. She has issues that she wants to address. We do have a problem next year. We're going to have 7 commissioners trying to pick up the work of 9 commissioners as far as the committees and assignments. We need to look at those, we need to streamline them, and we need to have that taken seriously. I don't believe this man has the ability to do that. I don't trust him. I don't trust him here, and now, you know, as you know, obviously I don't trust him outside of here. He hasn't treated me with the respect outside of this commission. I don't believe I could do that in the commission any longer.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, go ahead.
You know, Commissioner Gilman, there's something to be said for youth, time on a job, and there's something to be said for age and a long time on a job. I don't understand, based on your comments, why Commissioner Maxbauer, Vice Chair Maxbauer of that particular committee, could not give the chairman, Ross, an agenda and say, I would like to see these items on the agenda this year. And maybe suggest to the chairman in what order, what month, and I don't understand why she can't do that. And I think that could be accomplished.
Okay, we will go to, well, since Commissioner Richardson has not spoken yet, I will go to Commissioner Richardson.
Obviously, there's a lot of, charges flying back and forth here, and I've been pretty much trying to, ignore them. But the last charge made by Commissioner Gilman, I take particular offense in, and the charge was that as chair of RMA, I've ignored him during meetings, which is absolutely ridiculous. He's been given every opportunity to speak that he wished. I think I've gone out of my way to, as chair, give everyone, their due in the conversation. And as long as, you finally spurred me to respond to all this nonsense that Commissioner Maxbauer insists on bringing up, I'd like to make a couple comments. Yes, you did go before the Garfield Township Board. I didn't notice that you made the same argument before the Traverse City Commission. I'm not sure why, but you didn't. as far as your complaints about the administrator's evaluation, why didn't you bring that up at the start of the process? We've used the same process the 3 years I've been here, and now you don't fill it out because you thought it was ridiculous? Well, why didn't you bring that up a long time ago? You're right about our need to look at our assignments as we go from 9 to 7. And again, let's have that discussion. But do you think you're the only one that can occur to?
Okay. Commissioner Henschel, and then I will speak.
Thank you. I wanted to commend Chairman Inman on his comments that when a commissioner comes through those doors, we're all treated with the same respect because we all represent the people of this county. And I think, Chairman Inman, that is the problem at hand. My experience, while I don't have any personal problem with Ross Richardson, Chairman Richardson, in my experience, has chronically misapplied board rules. And I'm not talking about the minor things, just forgetting to say something right as a chairman, but in my experience, and that's all I can speak from, those things have consistently been cited in a political, leaned politically towards his beliefs. The motions that he has called inappropriate or out of order have consistently been a certain set of commissioners, particularly us first-year commissioners, are the ones that are being hit with these things when they are perfectly legitimate arguments or motions. And I would support Christine for chair. I would support Commissioner Lemkool for chair of this committee, the RMNA committee that's in question. I would not support Ross Richardson as chair of the RMNA committee.
Okay. 3 comments that I'd like to make. First of all is that prior to 2011, assuming I would get the chairmanship, I called around and asked commissioners for, their interest in assignments as time permitted. And of course, I called Commissioner Maxbauer first, or at least got an opportunity to talk to her first. So I gave her the respect for her seniority, for being the only female on the board, and given that she had the chairmanship of the Human Services Committee during the last election cycle, I wanted to extend that opportunity to her. She told me no. I didn't have much choice. Normally, we had 3 incoming commissioners coming in for the 2011 election. And when I got with Commissioner Thomas, he said, no, I'd rather not be a chairman. Commissioner Wheelock said, yes, I'd like to be chairman of Public Safety. And normally the Ways and Means Committee is chaired by the vice chairman, which Commissioner Fleece has indicated that he was interested in, and it didn't appear there was going to be any contestment on that. And I wanted to make sure it didn't look odd that we brought Commissioner Lemkool back as a full chairman, even though he had spent time on the board previously. So I only had one opportunity, and that was to go to Commissioner Richardson because of his seniority on the board. And I told him at that day and that time that I'm asking for him to chair the RMA committee, which was left, that no other commissioner had expressed an interest in doing, and I thought he would do a wonderful job. And I repeated to him that we usually look to at least a second-term commissioner to chair a committee, and my policy was not to separate Republican versus Democrat and treat everybody with equal respect and trust, and he was delighted to have that offer and accepted. I see this in 2 ways, and it's unfortunate. Given that Commissioner Maxbauer has chosen to go to the Republican Executive Committee and make a Republican issue out of a Republican chairman to appoint a Democratic committee chairman, I think is totally uncalled for, disrespectful, and I was extremely hurt personally from our personal friendship that we have had for many years, that she would do that to me and not in my presence. Commissioner Maxbauer has repeatedly told me of how fond she is of Commissioner Richardson in the past, and how her and her husband have gone over to Commissioner Richardson's home and have been welcomed in their home, and they have had extremely wonderful evenings together, and they consider themselves personal friendships. And it appears as though lately there's been a fallout of that relationship. I can only conclude, as one individual, that this is the reason why this is coming up and aggressively being pursued. And I feel embarrassed that this commission has to address this issue, and that Commissioner Maxbauer is pressing this issue. It goes beyond every practice of the Grand Traverse County Board of Commissioners for the past 20 years that we would even enter into these types of discussions. I apologize to the public for this discussion, but in the end, I think the board will make the right decision. So at some point in time, we're going to have to get moving on with the vote, but we'll call on Commissioner Maxbauer and Commissioner Gilman.
Thank you. I appreciate this opportunity. First of all, I want to address something that Commissioner Richardson said. Before I came on to the county board, there was no appraisal of the county administrator. And Commissioner Richardson, you didn't fill one out last year because I don't think you thought much of the process. But over the following year, nothing was done to change it. I'm offering to change it. Mr. Chairman, you know, I'm simply offering the board a choice, and they have one, and they're going to make it. Asking for support from friends, people I work with on other boards, I don't think that's wrong. I'm sorry you do. Thank you.
Commissioner Gilman.
I'm sorry if you feel like you have to apologize to the public for something that we should be deliberating on each year anyway. As far as the stating it in front of you, you left that meeting early.
About 5 minutes early.
Yeah, well, I mean, she had not yet had a chance to address that. But I think that this is something, there is a reason, you know, perhaps the tradition has had it that we continue on through the 2-year cycle, but the bottom line is it's a 1-year appointment. And to apologize for deliberating on an appointment when there's somebody else who wishes to have that particular seat, I don't get that at all, Mr. Chairman.
Well, I guess in the end, before we take a roll call vote, I think this would be so disrespectful if commissioners voted yes to remove Commissioner Richardson from the chairman of RMA. I think we all have equally done our best chairing the committees, and even I have made mistakes and have been corrected. Many times as probably as everyone else. We're all human beings. We've all need additional training on Robert's Rules of Order. We've been blessed by having Bob Cooney here at some of our meetings to help correct us in procedural matters. And I would hope that this motion goes down. So the motion on the floor is to amend the chairman's recommendation, and I believe place Commissioner Christine Maxbauer as the chairman of RMA committee. So that is the motion. Does everyone understand the motion? The motion is to change the chairman's recommendation and put Commissioner Maxbauer as the chairman of RMA. So voting yes, you would be removing Commissioner Richardson. Roll call vote, please.
Just a point, sir. It was to reverse the two. So the motion was to reverse the twos, to have Chris Maxbauer the chair and Ross Richardson the vice chair.
Was that the motion?
That was the motion.
Okay, I stand corrected. Okay. Everybody understand the motion? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Baxbauer?
Yes.
Lemkool?
No.
Henschel?
Yes.
Gilman?
Yes.
No.
Fleece? Wheelock?
No.
Thomas?
No.
Richardson?
No.
Chairman Inman?
No. So we have, motion does not pass. And we have,
The original motion.
all right, now we have the original motion in place, which is to take the chairman's recommendation for the 2012 assignment. Do we have any further comments on that recommendation? Commissioner Henschel.
Thank you, Chairman. I would move to amend the motion to have Herb Lemkool as chair of RMNA.
Support?
Call for roll call vote?
Call
Yeah,
for
I think this thing has been talked to death, and again,
Mr. Inman,
yes,
I'm going to decline.
thank you so much.
Withdraw my motion.
All right, thank you so much,
Withdraw
Commissioner
support.
Henschel. I'll say, so we have a standing motion on the floor for the recommendation by the chairman. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Lemkool?
Yes.
Henschel?
No.
Gilman?
No.
Fleece?
Yes.
Wheelock?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
Richardson?
Yes.
Maxbauer?
No.
Chairman Inman?
Yes. Motion passed.
Congratulations. I was first.
Congratulations on everyone on their reassignments. Okay, we move on to public comment. Is there any member of the
Mr.
public?
Inman,
Oh.
Mr.
Yes.
Chairman, on committee assignments, I
Yes.
have some questions on those committee assignments.
Sure.
If we can. A couple of things on there. The Conservation District is a liaison appointment. The Department of Human Services is a liaison appointment. The Pavilions is not mentioned on there, and that is a liaison appointment. And I'm questioning if the G5 meeting is still meeting. I thought that was disbanded.
That's still meeting.
Is
Yeah,
it
it's
still
still
meeting?
meeting.
Yes.
Yeah,
On
Okay.
occasion, yeah.
yeah.
So,
Well, I think the point is that, you know, Chris mentioned it earlier, there's 43 positions appointed on
Yep.
there. And 7 people are not going to handle 43 positions plus their
I
regular
totally agree.
responsibilities. So at least half of these need to go away, and there's a number of them that I think are real questionable. And, you know, I think during the whole budget process, I talked repeatedly about the fact that as we look at our 2013 budget, that we have a lot of these things that we have to get rid of.
yeah,
Yeah,
I question whether or not we need
Yeah, I'm to-
liaisons or whatever, but,
Yeah,
you know,
I'm totally in favor of, as we go through the year,
yeah.
you know, if we find that the liaison positions are no longer needed, that the board.
I
would-
think they have value, but I just don't know.
Yeah, they're to bring back information at this point, but if, you know, towards the end of part, you know, as we go through the year, I guess my recommendation is towards the end of the year, the recommendation to the newly elected board, which will make those final determinations, not us, that those stand or not stand. Commissioner Thomas?
Well, between emergency management, which you're required to be on, and central dispatch, which happens just before that, and it's never over a 20-minute meeting, I'd like to see you take both of them. That would free me up for, I have sometimes at almost the same time as water.
Board of Public Works.
Water, sewer, or
Sewer and water.
BPW.
Yeah.
So, and they're both very short meetings, and they have good roles. So if you take both of those,
All right. I would be happy to accept.
I hate to come all the way to town for a 20-minute meeting.
I would happy to accept the position of central dispatch.
Yeah, they don't do anything.
Does the board concur on that?
Yes.
Sure. Through consensus? Hearing none, hearing no objection, that stands. Commissioner Max Bauer.
I'm sure under RMNA Chairman Richardson's leadership that we'll have the information and research necessary to make these decisions in the future. But Commissioner Lemkool, on the DHS, the pavilions especially, that's a county medical facility.
I know.
I mean, that's something I think we have to sit on. I mean, because if they don't make their bills, guess who does? We do. We're responsible. So,
My question
But-
isn't so much whether or not it should be a liaison, but whether or not it should be a regular appointed and be able to have a voting, a vote.
well,
And
that's
a liaison
actually,
does not have a
It's by
vote.
statute,
I
I
was
think
gonna
it's by
say
statute,
that's-
but
Yeah.
anyway, yeah. But, you know, But I was just mentioning here that you don't have the pavilions on as an appointment.
Right.
So we just need to make that correction.
The,
One other thing.
yes.
Could we go ahead and, with the switch with Commissioner Henschel and myself? He
Sure.
will take
I'm
Parks
not-
and Rec.
I'm not ready to do
You're
that
not
yet.
ready yet?
I need more time.
Okay, never mind.
Different switches,
Okay.
right?
Okay, Commissioner Fleece.
I don't know, what do you want, EDC?
Well,
Mr.
no, I
Chairman,
have to
I'd
look at
like
my
to speak to
schedule on
that switch.
What other meetings I've got scheduled?
Where Commissioner
I'll-
Henschel and Commissioner Maxbauer would be trading positions, as I understand it. The report that Commissioner Henschel gave us recently on North Lakes Mental Health, I thought he hit the nail on the head, and I think we need Rob's continuation sitting on that board, and I think it's really important, and I don't think Commissioner Maxbauer has done a horrible job on Parks and Rec. I think, in fact, you've done a good job.
Thank you.
And
It's the nicest thing
I
anybody said to
think-
me all morning.
yeah, I think if you two could bear one more year at least on those assignments, I think it's critical for this commission, I really do, and the citizens of the county. Because I think Rob is, and Sonny and I have talked about this over the years, Rob is right on line, and he kind of reminds me of Snoopy. And he's got his nose to the ground, and I think we need to keep him there. And thanks, Rob, for the good job you're doing, and thank you, Christine.
Okay, Dick.
I noticed one other thing. They got sewer and water as a liaison, and they keep asking me for a vote.
You, you are nothing but on sewer and water.
Well, then we better tell them, quit asking me for a vote.
Yeah, you are a liaison. Because you're not a member of the 5 townships.
Well, no,
All those extra committees when we expanded the board.
but okay, that's fine, I'll
I
tell
thought they
them.
were too.
Yeah, I believe that's so. We can verify that.
There's one of the members right there, ask him what he thinks.
Yeah. We,
Historically, the county commissioners always voted as well as the city members.
have they? All right, okay,
On sewer and water,
okay, all right,
so
all right,
that's the way I thought it was.
all right. Does that conclude the assignments for row 12? All right. Now we go to public comment. Members of the public wish to speak at this time?
You'll have to line up.
All right.
What are you
You have a new
doing?
public sitting in the back.
What
there,
are you doing
Mr.
here?
Chairman.
I saw him out, I thought
He thought he was actually here.
Yeah, he's lost.
All right. So we will conclude public comment. There is no old business. Under new business, we have, or you should have, a email sent to commissioners, and I will now call on County Administrator Dennis Aloya to provide his comments to the commission.
Well, I think I provided my notice of resignation yesterday. No, it's been sent to all the commissioners. The contract requires 45 days' notice, and so that would put us at approximately February 15th. I included in there a press release, but again, I'll thank the county board for all their support and direction that they've given me over the years. I've truly enjoyed my time in Grand Traverse County, and I love the area and the people here, and it's been a pleasure and an honor to be able to serve.
Well, I'd like to speak on that. I was here when we hired Dennis, and we went through an exhaustive process, a state, local, and national search, and narrowed it down to 10 candidates that we interviewed, and Dennis, by far, was the person that really outshined everyone in all areas of grading that the commission looked at and offered him the position that evening. We're so thankful to have him on board. Dennis, I just want to let you know, is just personally on my part, it's been an honor and a privilege to be working with you and to be at your side for the past 10 years. I have learned greatly from your knowledge of county government and your leadership skills and your management abilities. And you have led Grand Traverse County Board of Commissioners and assisted us on many fronts and improved us, not only in the way we conduct our business of the whole, which you strongly recommended, changing it from the smaller committee system, to our financial condition, our fund balance, and the number of things we have accomplished under the 10 years of your leadership here, of which are, if I had to list them all, we would not get out by 4 o'clock today. And I am saddened personally and professionally that, you are leaving the county. I still remain, in my opinion, you are the top county administrator in the United States. As Chairman Gilman indicated, I did too good of a job in expressing that fact to everyone at the National Association of Counties and the State Michigan Association of Counties, that I never dreamed that someday somebody would be coming after you. But you deserve this promotion. You deserve this opportunity, you and your family, to go to a different area for a new challenge, a higher compensation, and I know they're just thrilled to have you accept the position and to have someone with your character, leadership, and abilities to be at the helm. They are so fortunate to have you. Now it is our job to find the number 2 county administrator in the country. And with regret, I accept your resignation notice on behalf of the Board of Commissioners. And I thank you so much for your dedication, experience, and everything you gave us as a commission, to the management team, and to the voters of this county, your heart and soul. Thank you. And I wish you all the best. Commissioner Lemko.
I personally would like to echo those comments, being part of the committee that did select Dennis to be here. Dennis, you also have been a good counsel for most of us, that when we have an issue that we want to discuss, you're always there to be able to help us in helping us to get the right decision going forward. And we are going to miss you. And, I can remember how elated we were when when you said, yes, you would be coming to work for Grand Traverse County. And I'm sure that the people in Oregon are feeling the same way. And so I wish you all the best. And hopefully that our paths will cross again, because we will be in Oregon, and we will be looking you up. And bless you, and good luck to you and your family.
Thank you. Any other commissioner comments or questions? Commissioner Gilman.
When I was running for this office, I wasn't sure of all of where a lot of the problems were coming from, and I believe that my impression of the administrator at that time was that he might have been part of the problem, but I will tell you this. I believe he's had to deal with the last board, which might have been part of the problem. No, in all honesty, I'll tell you, I've been impressed. I think that he was very gracious to the new commissioners coming in, and he really made us feel welcome and got us up to speed. And his office did a professional job and made it easy to be a first-year commissioner.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak at this time? Commissioner Fleece.
Well, I was going to say, I had a word for Dennis, but then upon thinking about it, I think I'll pass. But Dennis, I would echo my sentiments exactly like Larry and Herb have stated. I'm really sorry to see you go, And I'll never forget the first time I met Dennis. And it wasn't at a county commissioner level. It was at Blair Township. I was a trustee, and this little guy, I'll call him, comes in. And he's got a beard that he always has sported. And they introduced him as the county coordinator. And I thought, geez, to myself, and you got to remember, I'm just a country boy. I said, he doesn't look like anything like Ross, you know, what's he doing with that beard? And he had an open neck shirt on, which I thought that was really appropriate. But that was my first examination, if you will, of Dennis. Of course, he gave us a little speech, which had a tendency to impress me. And since I've been on here and starting my 6th year on the board, Dennis certainly has opened my eyes. You look at what he's done for the county, you know, 10 years ago we didn't have a fund balance. Today we have one. And I'm glad for him and Jeannie to be able to go out there and pursue a dream, if you will. And the hope I have is that perhaps Jeannie and Dennis will, when he's done, when he retires, return to this area, because it'd be fun to have him in the community again. And thank you for your tenure, Dennis.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Commissioner Wheelock.
Well, like some of the rest of you, I was part of the process that hired Dennis to come here. And Chairman Inman's not wrong when he said it was an exhaustive process. You know, and I think we have a lot of work ahead of us to replace Dennis. You know, I don't know that we will ever replace him. We will find someone that will sitting in his office. And I've never had anything but respect for Dennis. He's done a great job for us here. He served us very well. I think we all realize that, you know, the average tenure of a county administrator is, what, 5 to 7 years, you know, nationwide. This community has been pretty blessed for 10 years to have him here. You know, our community's been pretty fortunate all the way around in this regard. You know, Ross was here, what, 28 years? Right. And then Dennis came. You know, we interviewed 7 candidates, 7 finalists. And after a full day of discussions and questions for these candidates, we passed around a slip of paper, and each county commissioner that was seated at that time, the 9 of us, put down 3 names. And the first ballot, all 3 names were the same. On the second ballot around, where you were voted for one, there was one name that came out, and that was Dennis. I was always impressed with that. And what I was impressed with was not only with Dennis, but the fact that our 9 commissioners were looking for the same thing. You know, as we sat here this morning and we talk about the adversarial things that we had here today, I'm not sure that's going to be the same thing the next go round. And that scares me. Because the fact is, you know, we've done very, very well with the decisions that were made by those people because we were all looking for the same thing. And I look at each of you here this morning, and at least in my mind, I'm not sure what we're looking forward to replace Dennis with. And that's a scary thought to me. But the exciting thought is Dennis is going to have a life's opportunity somewhere else in the country to do something different. And I give him the credit for having the initiative to do that, and I wish he and his family the best of luck while they do that.
Any other commissioner wish to speak at this time? Okay, hearing none. Second part is the chairman would request, and I have a notice here, a special meeting set for tomorrow night, January 4th, at 7 p.m. that would normally occur, the Public and Health Safety Committee, but it was canceled due to lack of agenda items, that we call, and we have the 18-hour notice, a special meeting of the Grand Traverse County Board of Commissioners to discuss the 45-day notice of the county administrator to terminate his contract, and that the chairman and vice chairman will meet today and come up with options and recommendations on the interim management of the county and the recruitment process recommendation and a timetable for your consideration, and we will have that prepared and sent out today for your evaluation for tomorrow at 7 p.m. And I have a memo here that, with regard to special meetings, 3 commissioners need to sign it. So I will sign it, and I will ask 2 other commissioners to sign it. Or Bob, or can the board just make a motion to approve the special meeting without the signatures?
The board could also make a motion to simply approve.
Okay.
Make that motion.
All right, moved by Commissioner Henschel, seconded by Commissioner Fleece to hold a special Board of Commissioners meeting on January 4th at 7 p.m. And the agenda items would be the 45-day notice of the county administrator, the chair and vice chair recommendation on the interim management, options and recommendations, and the options and recommendations for the recruitment process. Is there discussion on the motion?
Just a very brief comment. The reason there's not a public health and safety meeting tomorrow night, when the draft agenda came to me last week, there was 3 items, 2 of them were accepting grants. There was just no reason for us to all come in for a 5-minute meeting.
Do you want to add that onto the agenda tomorrow night, then?
No, we'll just add it to
all right.
RMA next week.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, any other questions on the motion on the floor? Commissioner Lemko.
Can we discuss not accepting his resignation?
Yes. What if we had the power to do that?
Rob?
All right. Hearing no other discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Okay, so the meeting will be scheduled for tomorrow, 7 p.m., January 4th, as presented. That's under new business. Do we have any other notices? Hearing none, we need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Moved by Commissioner Lemko, seconded by Commissioner Richardson. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Everybody have a great day.
September 3rd, or January 3rd.